right. Let us get started here, folks. What is up? I'm Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And we are creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5.5 and Magic the Gathering. We are creating the Color, Mana, and Martial Power playtest content. All these documents and stuff are posted here online. It is a Google Doc that you can find here. It's read-only, so you can look. But it'll eventually be published on the DMsGuild with all the other mana books that I've built. Here's the series of color, mana, spell point variant rules that we've published on the DMsGuild for 2014. This has been out for about 6 years now or more. Probably been playtesting it for like 7.5 years. We've ran 3 campaigns from level 1 to 20, as well as an assortment of smaller campaigns, and these all have 100% free preview. Like, we'll click into here to Point Warlocks. And here's the preview. If you click any of these, it'll pop open the entire document, and you could, scroll through. These are all my art and ideas. So all my books are this way. Be welcome to check them all out down here. If you want to support the channel, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. And so the martial power system, or rather the spell point system that we developed for spellcasters using Magic the Gathering color mana system instead of the 8 schools of magic and spell slots. It's now 5 colors: white, blue, black, red, green, and each point of mana. It's a 1-to-1 point ratio, so one first level spell requires 1 point, a 5th level spell requires 5 points, 9th level spell requires 9 points. But each point, if you want to do more than just have spell points and lean into the Magic the Gathering flavor as a mechanic, each point of mana is assigned or is devoted to one color, and each spell in the game is devoted to one or more colors as well. This revised 5-color mana spell list was published about 2 years ago. After a number of campaigns, we're like, we need to have more flexibility in what colors are. So we have this matrix. The entire document's available for you guys to look at as a preview. If you want to buy it to support me, God bless you. But there's white, blue, black, red, green, and each spell in the game from level 0 to hero. And you can see here that's like Arms of Hadar is only black energy because it's necrotic. And say Armor of Agathis actually deals cold damage, and cold damage is white, blue, and green. So you've got this matrix here that shows you what color each damage type is and some aspects of like what each color means, like tags in D&D 5e. And now we're going to update all this for 5.5, and that's part of the effort. But these only apply to spells. So that means that all the martial characters, the fighter, the barbarian, the fighter, the monk, the rogue, don't have anything tied to color identity in a Magic the Gathering setting. Only the spellcasters have the opportunity to utilize color mana as both an expression of themselves and as using as their resources. So the beauty of the system is, instead of the good, evil, chaos, law alignments, we instead go with magic philosophies, or the 5-color philosophies of character personality types. And once you decide what colors your character are, those are the colors that you would naturally be devoted to as a spellcaster. But martials don't really have any mana resource in the game right now, unless you're an Eldritch Knight, Arcane Trickster, or Warrior of the Mystic Arts. They're the only ones that actually do get a mana pool because they're spellcasters. So we're closing that divide between the martials and the casters by giving all of the barbarian, the fighter, the monk, the rogue, they're getting a martial power progression system. It's short rest mana, just like the monk already gets, and a number of prepared powers, up to 20 at 20th level. These include both mana powers, but it also includes fighting styles, weapon masteries, as well as feats. I mean, you naturally get feats every few levels, but a martial character can prepare feats. You don't get the stat bonus, but there's no prerequisites either. Excuse me. Other than minimum levels. So we'll look at that more later on. But for now, we're looking at sustained powers. So there's 5 disciplines that require expending mana, and then there's 3 meta powers that don't require expending mana at all. Hey, Rel. What are you today? I don't know. I'm going to be... I might be a referee today. I might not actually be playing at all. I have no idea. We don't know until we actually have butts and seats. Rel's asking about playtesting. We do playtesting on my Discord channel in the afternoon, and I do this game design stuff beforehand, and Rel will be participating today. So thanks, Rel. Yeah, we have no idea who's going to be on our team. We're going to be randomly rolling up, teams. So, what are you doing today? Oh, ha. Thank you. Today we are doing martial powers. We're doing martial power production. We are refining the sustained powers, and if I have time, we'll be working on meta powers as well. So I'm just now getting into it. Looking at sustained powers specifically. Okay, so again, we get a short rest mana, 20 at 20th level, 1 at first level. We get back on short rests. We have the max rank is progressing at half casting progression, 1 second level at 5, 3rd at 9, 4 at 13, and then 5 at 17. And we get a power die. A power die is like a martial arts die, a psionic die, a superiority die, a bardic inspiration die. It serves that sort of purpose throughout all of the powers that characters get. So, D6 at first, D8 at 9th, and D10 at 17th. It doesn't have, like all the other classes and stuff that get die roll resources typically land at 12 by 17th level. Excuse me. Got some phlegm going on here. I'm going to take a sip of water. So although powers can often do things similar to these other dice, they don't outshine those dice. Like the Battle Master has a D12 at 17. The Monk has a D12 at 17. The Bard has a D12 at 17. So it does a lot of those functions, but it as a more generalist, just things that you can buy into, they aren't as potent. So looking at how sustained powers work specifically, and this is universal for the Barbarian, the Fighter, the Monk, the Rogue, and it also Rangers, Paladins, and Artificers can choose powers instead of spells. When you're preparing your spell list, you could choose not to use any powers at all and just go with all feats. So now your Ranger is super kitted out with a shitload of general feats, weapon masteries, fighting styles. Anyway, so sustained powers is one of the options. Sustained powers can be channeled as a magic action or a bonus action. We refer to channeling instead of spell casting, so the Barbarian doesn't have to worry about it. And we don't maintain concentration, we sustain powers. So sustained powers can be channeled as a magic action or a bonus action, which means like you could do one, the other, or you can do 2 sustained powers in your turn. Magic action, bonus action. Unless the description indicates otherwise. Multiple powers can be sustained simultaneously. The total ranks of power that can be sustained is equal to your character's max rank of power, unless a feature or power indicates otherwise. So, is there an example? No. These powers do not require concentration. Let's put a for example in here. 1, 2, 3. For example. For example, a 5th level channeling character can sustain a 2nd rank power or 2 1st rank powers. These powers do not require concentration to sustain and remain active. 2, 3. And remain active until dismissed at any time. No action required. A sustained power also ends when it is successfully dispelled, when you start a long rest, or become incapacitated. Mana channeled to sustain a power remains in use while the power remains active. While the power is active. And cannot be regained until the power ends, such as during a short rest or a class feature that would regain mana. And then meta powers don't require mana to use. Combat masteries can be used instead of strike powers when you hit with an attack. I probably should have done combat masteries when I did strike powers on Thursday. I just didn't have it in me. I was tired. I needed to get work done. Combat masteries can be used instead of strikes. When you hit with an attack, damage types can replace the normal listed type of damage dealt by a weapon, unarmed, or natural attack, or any power that deals damage. And so you can basically prepare damage types and then choose that damage type whenever you want. Feats can be prepared. They don't have prerequisites, nor do they increase abilities. Ability scores probably is ability scores when prepared as a power, period. There you go. So let's go down to the list of sustained powers, and then we'll look at... Scroll down here a little bit. We did reactions on Thursday. We did strikes on Thursday. We did reactions on Monday. We did exploits and maneuvers Thursday last week. And now we're down into the fifth discipline, sustained powers. There's a total of 32 of them. We're going to read through each of them to basically do a quality of life and critical analysis of each power, to determine whether we should keep it in the system, does it need to change, or do we need to get rid of it after we've had a lot more playtesting that we've been performing. So sustained powers, adaptive resistance. So first rank sustained power, there's 18 first rank sustained powers. This one's called adaptive resistance. While sustaining this power, you gain resistance to one or more types of damage as listed below in any combination up to your max channel limit. Each option requires the listed amount of mana to be sustained. So for 1 point, you can sustain elemental resistance. When you sustain this power with 1 mana, choose one type of damage: acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. You gain resistance to the chosen type of damage and gain advantage on saving throws to reduce the damage taken of the chosen damage type. For 2 points each, it's energy resistance. When you sustain this power with 2 mana, choose one type of damage: force, necrotic, psychic, or radiant. You gain resistance to the chosen type of damage and gain advantage on saving throws to reduce the damage taken of the chosen damage type. And then for 2 mana, you can have natural resistance, which is when you sustain this power with 2 mana, you gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, poison, and slashing damage. Let's see. While sustaining this power, you gain resistance to one or more types of damage listed below in any combination up to your max channel limit. You can sustain this power multiple times. Each gaining resistance to a different type of damage with each. Oh, I should put it each gaining. Each gaining resistance to a different type of damage. We should probably do, let's see, mana, damage. Yeah, I think this is better structure. There we go. There. All right, cool. So that's adaptive resistance. I could put 5 points. I've got 5 elemental damage types. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could put 5 points of mana at 17th level into all 5. I could pick up at 13th level when I could channel up to 4 ranks of power. I could have resistance to 2 energy types. At 5th level, I can essentially give myself barbarian resistance, BPS plus poison for 2 mana, but that would be the only power I'd be able to sustain if I did so. But it's useful when you need it, you want it, it's useful. My screen is still just there. Aquatic Anatomy. So again, for 1 mana, while sustaining this power, you can breathe water and gain swim resist and gain a swim speed equal to double your normal. But it's just speed. 5.5. D&D's weird about speed languages. I guess I can put your move speed, but technically that's redundant. I'm gonna add move speed for now. Move speed until I have more time to look at language, like spell language and stuff for comparison. In addition, you have no penalties to melee attack rolls from attacking underwater. No penalties to weapon attack rolls, melee weapon attack rolls. Thank you. And in this system, as noted above in the description of martial powers, melee weapons include weapons that you can gain proficiency with, natural weapons, and unarmed attacks. All that stuff counts. Attack maneuvers. Okay, so this is a first rank sustained power. While this power is sustained during your turn, when you take the attack action, you can forego one of your attacks to channel a maneuver instead. So we looked at maneuvers last week. Basically, those are action or bonus action spell-like abilities that you can do, and they require either a magic action or a bonus action. But by sustaining 1 mana as attack maneuvers, you can now channel these powers as attacks. So an 11th level fighter that has attack maneuvers sustained can now make 3 attacks, and each of those attacks can be a maneuver instead. Just to refresh our memory on some cool things that we can do with maneuvers, and these things cost mana to use as well. So if you're going to swap, attacks are for free. So if you swap attacks for the ability to channel a power, it's going to cost you mana with each basically each attack that you make as maneuver. So let's take a look at what some of these maneuvers are. If you were to, let's say, if you wanted to be a high-level telekinetic psionic type, you could take things like Flatten, which is choose a creature that you can see standing on a surface that can support its weight up to size large. It takes 1 power die of force damage per mana expended this way and is knocked prone. If I spent 3 mana, it's a first-rank power. So it only costs 1 mana to knock down a large or smaller creature, and they take damage. They automatically get knocked prone. They automatically take damage, but they don't take a lot. It just basically trips somebody. You're using your action to trip somebody and deal a little bit of damage. It's not as much damage if, like I say, I hit you with a 2-handed sword and use the Topple Mastery to knock you off your feet at the same time. 3 mana can be huge, 5 mana can be gargantuan, but if I'm willing to spend, like, say, at 17th level, 5 mana, I'll deal 5d10 damage to that target. So that's not nothing damage, but it's not as good as a full spellcaster. So it's a neat in middle space, and of course it knocks somebody prone. But sticking on this telekinetic theme, if we wanted to, we could then also pick up telekinetic bubble, which is choose a feature up to large size you can see. It becomes trapped within a resilient sphere as per the spell. The creature can make a dexterity saving throw. At the end of the creature can make a dexterity save at the end of each of its turns to end the effect, or you can dismiss it early. Kicker costs for 2 mana. Choose a creature of large size that you can see. It becomes trapped in a resilient sphere as per the spell. The creature can make a dexterity save. Can make a dexterity save at the end of each of its turns to end the effect, or you can dismiss it early. But you can always dismiss effects early. So, to end the effect early. No, just to end the effect. I don't need to have early. It automatically ends after a minute, as per rules of martial powers. We can dismiss the power anytime we want, as per maneuvers up in the description of martial powers. And if you can make a dexterity saving throw, you can end the spell, but you can only make that at the end of your turn. Otherwise, it acts as an odorless resilient sphere. So yeah, those are some easy. Shunts. There was also first rank power Shunt. Target one creature up to one size larger than you that you can see per mana expended. The target, so I can, if at 17th level, if I've decided to become size large with giant size sustained power, I could then shunt up to size huge creatures. Target one creature up to one size larger than you that you can see per mana expended. So at 17th level, I can spend 5 mana. I can shunt up to 5 targets. If I decide to be large, they can be huge size creatures. If I decide to be huge, they can be gargantuan sized creatures. The target must make a strength save or be moved up to 10 feet per mana channeled in any direction. You can roll a number of power dice equal to the mana expended, adding the highest roll to the save DC. And of course, any direction means up, which means that they're going to fall down. This doesn't actually deal any damage, but if they fail their strength saving throw and I'm 17th level, I can choose 5 targets up to, like, say size large if I'm medium size, and I can shunt them into the sky. They'll raise 50 feet, and then they will fall 50 feet and take 5d6 damage on impact. So that is a thing I can do to disrupt the crowd. Hey, what's up? I wonder if the supplement could get some hakas or battle dances with different effects. Oh, neat idea. So just again to recap, these are different maneuvers. If you wanted to play, like, everyone wants to have a battlefield commander or like a martial character that can boost other allies around them. You can do that with sustained powers, and like, for example, rally. You and one ally you gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the total of 1 power die rolled for each point of mana expended this way. So at 17th level, I could give anybody as a maneuver, which with attack maneuvers, I could do 3 times with 3 attacks as, like, say, an 11th level fighter. At 17th level, I could do rally, 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 and roll 5d10 dice, and I plus one other person would gain those temporary hit points. That is a commander's type of thing to do. But we also have things like coordinated attack, which is you can empower one ally per mana expended this way that can see or hear you to use their reaction to make a weapon attack. Rolling 1 power die per mana expended this way, adding the highest result to the attack against the target you and your ally can see. So I could, as an attack maneuver, I could spend an attack, spend a point of mana with that attack to instead do a coordinated attack. So now you're going to use your reaction to attack that dude over there, and if you do, at 17th level, I'm going to roll a d10, and you're going to add that d10 to your attack roll, making it very easy for you to hit. So as a combat, as a martial commander sort of role, I can sacrifice my attacks to issue multiple orders during my action and as a bonus action and potentially as a reaction. So I have a stack of different things that I could do to change other people's action economy. Coordinated dash, you can empower one ally per mana expended this way that you can see, that can see and hear you, to use their reaction to move up to half their speed without provoking opportunity attacks. And then we have what's another good one? Let's see. Exploits. Give me exploits. And No, wait. Coordinated dash, coordinated escape. Coordinated escape, you can empower one ally per mana expended this way that can see or hear you to use their reaction to attempt to end the grapple, charmed, or frightened condition. Rolling one power die per mana expended this way, adding the highest result to the to the roll, which is either going to be an ability check to escape grapple or a saving throw to end a charmed or frightened condition. Then there's Goad, target creature that you can see and hear you, makes attacks against any other creature with disadvantage. Then at higher levels, there is, where is it? Brand, Curse, Lethargy, Regeneration, Stupefy. Oh, it's an attack. Never mind. There's an attack that forces you to Goading Strike. If you hit them, they now have disadvantage against other people. And Sealing Strike, Restraining Strike, Bursting, Provoking Strike at 3rd rank at 9th level. Now it's when you hit them, they have to attack you until they can succeed a saving throw. So there's different ways that you can build a martial battlefield commander character utilizing these powers, and the attack maneuvers goes a long way in helping towards that. Hey, what's up? I saw a few homebrews for it, so he was doing what? Neat. I'm surprised they never brought back the Warlord. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, Warlord it was called the Marshal in 3rd edition. Yeah, it's been around for a long time. It's an old trope fantasy that people really enjoy. Blind Sense. So it's 1 mana for Blind Sense. You are aware of location of any creature and objects on the same plane of existence as you within 10 feet times your max rank of power. Not your proficiency bonus, the max rank of power that you've gained as a channeler. So if I do a 1 level dip and then go 19 wizard, I can only channel 1 rank of power. The Blind Sense will only be up to 10 feet. But if I am a 17th level rogue, I have 50 feet of Blind Sense. So that's super useful. You can't identify things like color or written text on these objects while Blind Sense using Blind Sense alone. Cliff Runner, again, 1 mana. You gain a climb speed equal to your move speed. We're just going to add move speed here for now. Your move speed, and you don't need to use your hands while doing so. So you're literally, you can just run along the side of a cliff, and you're considered to be climbing. You won't fall. You can stop and have your hand freeze. So while you're running along a wall, you can be firing arrows at things. A fun roguelike thing to do. Close quarter combat. While this power is sustained, you gain the grapple mastery, and you can use an attack to attempt escaping a grapple instead of using an action. In addition, while you are grappling a creature, if it escapes the grapple, you can make an opportunity attack against that target. And as a kicker cost, for 1 mana, kicker is kicker, 1+. As an exploit, you can roll 1 power die per mana kicked up to your max channel limit, adding the highest result of the DC for any creature attempting to avoid or break your grapple. Alternatively, you can add the highest results to your saving throw to avoid the grapple or ability check to end it. So basically, this just gives you attack actions to break grapples, spend mana at will to roll additional dice to try to increase the result of your ability check or saving throw, ramp the DC of people escaping your grapple or avoiding it, and the final bit is if you're grappling somebody and they happen to break free of your grapple, you can make an opportunity attack against them. So, close quarters combat. It's for 1 mana. It's a very specialized build, but grappling is a viable strategy in 5.5, especially with this martial power system. So, we wanted to make something specialized to utilize that. Crouching Stance for 1 mana. While you sustain this power, While you sustain this power, you gain the following abilities. You can crawl and stand from prone without requiring additional movement if your speed hasn't been reduced to 0. Attack rolls made against you while prone by creatures within 5 feet don't have advantage. Attack rolls you make while prone don't have disadvantage, and you gain advantage on dexterity stealth checks while prone. So basically this allows you to walk, crawl, roll on the ground, acrobatics, roly-poly. Any sort of bodily movement is going to be at its normal movement. You're not penalized. You completely nullify the bonuses enemies get against you and the penalties that you have while prone, and you're better at stealth. 1 mana, not bad. It's something that a rogue, well, rogue probably already has expertise in stealth, but a monk probably doesn't. So a monk could pick up Crouching Stance as a first rank power, and it would completely complement the things that our monk do. Yeah, there you go. That might be a way of looking at battle stances and hakas, right? Empowered abilities, choose one ability score. You have advantage when rolling checks and saves with that ability. So strength, I now have advantage with checks and saves for my strength because I spent 1 mana. Kicker, you can roll 1 power die per mana kicked up to your max channel limit. This should say kicker 1+. Adding the highest result to the D20 test. So if I empower dexterity, I now have advantage on dexterity saving throws, and at any time I can expend additional mana to add power dice to increase the saving throw results. And of course, with D20 tests, when you throw multiple dice because you've spent multiple mana, anytime, well, even with Bardic Inspiration, Bless, anytime with this system, anytime you're rolling dice to increase the result of a D20, regardless of how many dice you roll, you only keep the best result. So like a fifth level fighter that has empowered ability for dexterity could spend up to 2 mana to roll 2 6-sided dice and add the best result, but could also have a Bardic Inspiration die that they choose to spend to get a D8. So you'd have 1d8 and 2d6 that you would be rolling to see if you can improve the result of this dexterity test, but you would only keep the best result. So it's risk and reward. The better result you want, the more mana you have to risk. Otherwise, it might only be a +1. Hey, what's going on, Fernando? It's good to see you, my guy. We're going through martial powers, sustained powers, making some corrections to the text, and reviewing the logic of these things to make sure that they're flowing properly. We're looking at extended reach, first rank power. You can increase your weapon, your melee weapon reach by 5 feet per point of mana sustained this way. So for every 5 per point of mana. So if I'm 17th level as a fighter and I'm using a polearm, like a glaive, I would have a 10-foot reach. But then if I tap 5 mana to ramp extended reach up to 5 ranks with 5 mana, I would add 25, so my fighter would have a 35-foot reach with the glaive. And that can either be the weapon extending, there being some sort of force or kinetic damage, or you're literally extending the length of your limbs, like in the case of an unarmed attack from a monk, like Dulcim from Street Fighter. These are all viable. These are all viable ways of expressing it. But yeah, so your sustaining power to increase your reach. There's a number of builds that could benefit from that, like a reaction-based tank that's using multiple reactions to trigger when something's within reach of its melee weapon attack. That specifically curves into here. Let's go look at some of those real quick. Let's look at reactions, deflections. You or an ally within reach of your melee weapon of your melee attack are hit by. You or an ally within reach of your melee attack are hit by an attack roll from a source that you can see. And the response is that the attack is re-rolled, taking the new results. This re-roll cannot score a critical hit. And as a kicker, I can expend 1 mana to not use a reaction when I channel this power. So every time an attack comes in, I could spend... The deflection itself costs 1 mana. Deflection costs 2 mana, and I could spend a 3rd point of mana every time I use this, and I can use it as many times as I want during a turn. If I have extended reach giving me a 35-foot reach, anybody within 35 feet of me, if they get attacked, I can attempt to deflect that attack make the attacker re-roll, and they can't score a critical hit when they do. So like that's a good tanking ability. It's expensive as hell, but it's something I can do. And we have ways of buying down costs on things, and we'll look at that later on. But like that's an example of like ultra tanking. Let's see, what's another good one? Tanking Saving Grace. You or another creature that you can see fails a d20 test. As a response, you can re-roll the d20 test and any number of power dice that you rolled and keep the new result. And that's an actual reaction. We can't buy that one down, but it's something that we can do. Let's see, what's another good tanky thing to do? First rank powers. Interpose. An ally within reach of your melee attack takes damage from a source that you can see, and in response, you can take any portion of that damage for the target and gain resistance to it. And the kicker is I can expend 1 mana, and it doesn't use my reaction. So if I have a 35-foot reach with a 5th rank sustained extended reach power, and I'm within range of, say, the wizard, if the wizard gets hit by damage, I can use Interpose to take the damage for the wizard, gain resistance to it, and the wizard then doesn't have to make a Constitution saving throw to maintain concentration because I took the hit for them. So Interpose allows a tanky character, a high hit point character, to literally just tank damage for spellcasters. There's other ways to hit concentration on spellcasters aside from damage, but this is a good way to keep them from taking damage. This is literally tanking, deflecting hits, taking damage for them, ramping saving throws for your ward. This is like all the stuff that a tank wants to be able to do. We're doing it. So that's one of the things that we're capable of doing. That was with empowered abilities, for instance. No, that's what extended reach is really good at for tanking or just hitting shit far away. Hey, what's up? Martial characters in the color mana system have more options than standard martials, right? Well, the color mana system is just a way of explaining the spell points that you have. So the mana that you get as a character here, it could just be, if you're not using color mana, it's just mana. It's just generic mana or spell points. You spend them to trigger these powers, kind of like a battle master would spend superiority dice. We're giving you mana to spend to get superiority dice to then use with your powers, and the more mana you have, the more superiority dice you can spend. Either to deal extra damage, like a strike power, or to modify d20 tests, like exploits and maneuvers. But the color portion of it is the narrative. You could use elemental mana, where your mana is devoted to air, earth, fire, or water, and there's only 4 aspects of magic, those 4 aspects. Or you could use the color magic paradigm, which has white, blue, black, red, green, and aligns you in the Magic the Gathering color system, but the mana is the same no matter what, and you don't have to assign, you don't have to devote your mana as a martial to a specific color to use specific powers, but you could decide I'm a Rakdos character that's red black, and when I use maneuvers and reaction, like when I use say maneuvers and exploits, I use black mana. When I use strikes and reactions, I use red mana. And when I sustain powers, I could use either red or black mana to channel that sustained power. Like, you could do it that way, and we recommend that down in the book. If you want your color identity to mean something, do that. And if you're multi-classing and with a full caster that does have to pay attention to color, now the points that you assign in your mana pool are going to be focused more like what is the spellcaster going to be able to cast or not. By adding that extra layer, you make it more difficult or less universal to use various powers. Like if I'm out of red mana, I can't use any strike or reactions anymore. But you don't have to do that. And it's not necessarily what I recommend, because you can generate so much temporary mana. Anytime you gain a point of mana, you devote it to a color. So if I'm going to generate 3 points of mana this turn by sacrificing attacks, then I can just immediately make that color red and use that to channel a reaction or a strike power. The mana pool doesn't really matter that much. in martial powers because of how much mana you can generate. It's kind of irrelevant. But when you're multi-classing or taking Eldritch Knight or Arcane Trickster or Warrior of the Mystic Arts that does have spell casting, it does matter what color those are if you're using color mana. If you're using strict color mana where you have to use mana aligned to the color of the spell that you're casting. That's when it really matters. You see? Key from Dragon Ball. Yeah. It's just so the Warden. Yeah. Hopefully that makes sense. Martial characters in the color mana system have more options than the standard martials, right? Oh my God, yeah. These are all options that you can use, and we rebuilt all of the character classes. Like this document is like 250 pages. It has a translation of all character classes into the mana system, so that they use mana, not spell slots, or they now use mana instead of no mana. So like the barbarian, and we have all of the classes, all the class chassis rebuilt. You know, scroll down. But the barbarian, all channelers all get access to the same full list. So like the barbarian, here's its full chassis rebuilt using mana as martial powers, and you can see it getting the 20 prep powers like everyone else does, and it's channeling class features. It has modifications to like rage and different like empowered attacks and stuff like that. Like brutal strikes is now brutal power. Because you're channeling power instead of making strikes. You're now channeling power when you forego your advantage and reckless attack. You can gain free mana to deal strike damage with. And then all the subclasses. And all the subclasses gain 10 bonus powers. Just like spellcasters gain 10 bonus spells. So in the end, you'll have 30 powers, 20 of which you selected as prepared. And then 10 that are always prepared, regardless of what. Every subclass gets 10. So everybody's on equal footing, and you get a shitload of powers. So anyway, back on course. Good questions. When will you finally publish it? I mean, this document is available for people to look at right now, but we're going to, as soon as the Eberron Adventure should be publishing, I think on Monday or Tuesday this week. So once I get that finished, I'm switching gears and I'm focusing on rebuilding the color mana books and building out the martial powers book. We'll get an editor to take care of the language in martial powers. Once we get that done, we'll drop it. We'll do page layouts and drop the text into pages of the book, and then whatever gaps are left in the pages, I will then fill with an illustration. And I'll do all the illustrations here online Monday through Fridays in the mornings. I stream artwork, so once Martial Powers is on the plate. So it'll be months. I hope to have it done in 2026. I have no idea how long this process is going to take, but I'm going to try doing it like page by page. Like when I finish the layout of a book, I start doing artwork for it, so I can get the layouts done while I'm doing artwork on stream with you guys. Once the layouts are done, I do both artwork on stream and off stream to help speed up the process of getting it completed. But it'll be months. It's a good sized book. It's gonna have a lot of illustrations because that shit is cool. It wouldn't surprise me if it didn't publish until 2027, to be honest. Which is why I made the document, the rough version of this book available for people to look at and to utilize for playtesting. This will become irrelevant. This text will be replaced with actual text that will be published on the DMsGuild. And when that happens, I'll just kill this document, and you can go online and look at it. I'll bundle it. I'll bundle it with the other all the other color mana books that I have. So it'll be added to this collection, so you'll be able to pick it up at a discount if you already own these other books. You'll get like 25% off or something like that. Yeah, that'll publish either Monday or Tuesday. I haven't figured out which one yet. I think Tuesday. I think I'm gonna publish it on Tuesday. So that it's we did the last map on Friday. Yesterday we finished it. All the layouts are done. All I have to do is build the product page and publish it. So I'm gonna do that on Tuesday morning. Okay. So I want to try to get through. Yeah, it's 8 o'clock. I want to try to get through the rest of these sustained powers, and then I'm going to need to drop off camera for a little bit to do like some breakfast and stuff like that before we start playtesting today. So extended reach, fast. While sustaining this power, all of your move speeds increase by your max rank of power. multiplied by 5. So for 1 mana at 17th level, I'll add 25 feet of movement to all modes of movement that a character has. Instant skill for 1 mana. While sustaining this power, you become proficient in 1 skill or tool of your choice. Alternatively, if you are already proficient in the chosen skill or tool, you instead gain expertise. You can sustain this power multiple times, choosing a different skill or tool with each use, or gain expertise in a skill or tool already chosen while sustained. So this basically, it's instant skill. There you go. 2 mana, go from knowing nothing to expertise through the power of magic. Lycanthropy, that's a rogue already has a ton of this stuff, but like your the Battle Master fighter that I use, the 5th level Battle Master fighter I have, he has instant skill and often will just play the role of a trap springer by taking instant skill with perception, and he has perception, so I give him instant skill to become expert with perception. And then I give him instant skill with lockpicks. So at 5th level, I can sustain 2 ranks of power. When I'm acting as a trapsmith for the party, I'll sustain 2 mana at 5th level to gain instant skill and trap springing to become a makeshift rogue, basically, to replace that role. Artificer does it naturally as well, but any character using martial powers can become that guy. I could also gain instant skill in persuasion and gain expertise in it to then be able to negotiate, do all the charmy stuff that you expect bards and sorcerers to do. If you have instant skill, anyone can do that. Granted, you have to have a really strong stat, but like a paladin could instant skill into expertise with persuasion very easily. So lycanthropy. And again, I can do it 5 times, one skill per rank, 5 ranks of power total. I can just pour stuff on. Instant skill combined with empowered ability, gaining advantage on an ability check, and then using instant skill and expertise with that ability check gives me both expertise and the ability to re-roll anytime I spend an extra point of mana to do so. So these things all combine together to really allow martial characters to manipulate D20 tests, which is a different way of solving problems inside of the game that isn't just casting spells to make a thing. Anything like the way that I run D&D, you can pretty much do anything that you want. If you're doing ability checks, and it's plausible that you can do it, and we assign an ability check, this allows you to start doing stuff. Lycanthropy. While sustaining lycanthropy, this came from the Blood Hunter. Just as a reminder, we took all the rights and subclasses and features that a Blood Hunter gets, and we dissolved them into powers. So instead of cutting yourself and dealing damage to yourself to trigger abilities as a Blood Hunter, you can now take all of the abilities of a Blood Hunter as powers and expend mana to do so. If you want to keep the slasher fantasy of bleeding yourself, then play a Barbarian, because a Barbarian can expend hit dice as mana, and when they do so, they roll a d12 on their power die. So like a Barbarian that uses empowered ability, I could expend hit dice to roll d12s to improve the result of my d20 test. So whenever I use the kicker of empowered ability, my Barbarian starts to bleed as he radiates power to protect him or to succeed on the saving throw or whatever. That is a good Blood Hunter fantasy. Or I could play a Rogue Blood Hunter and just choose a bunch of Blood Hunter features and act like a Blood Hunter Rogue or Blood Hunter Ranger or Blood Hunter Paladin or Blood Hunter Monk. All these classes are cool versions of a Blood Hunter trope, utilizing the mana system to gain access to them. So Lycanthrope is one of the Blood Hunter subclasses, and so we turn the subclass core feature into a sustained power. So for 1 mana, while sustaining this power, you can shift form into a Lycanthrope creature. Your appearance changes to adopt features of a creature of your choice, such as fur or scales, a beak, claw, fangs, tail, etc. And you gain the following benefits. Heightened senses, gain advantage on wisdom perception and intelligence investigation checks. Feral might, gain advantage on strength checks and saving throws, and then you gain natural weapons. Gain unarmed attacks that deal 1 power die plus your strength or dexterity mod of either bludgeoning, slashing, or piercing damage. So basically you can grow claws or grow fangs, or grow a slappy tail, I don't know, or like big hammery monkey fists, who knows. Anyway, lycanthrope, you turn into an animal type character and you get some natural abilities that align with that but don't overpower what 1 mana can do. Omnilinguist, while sustaining this power, you can communicate with and be understood by any creature with a spoken language, and you can read any non-magical text. So that is a first rank sustained power. Turn it on when you need it, turn it off when you don't, replace it. Power armor. Your armor class is 12 plus your channeling ability modifier plus your max rank of power. So for 1 mana, a barbarian probably wouldn't be a good choice because you already get your own mana set. You only get your own saving throw. But like a rogue, for instance, a rogue that takes power armor could expend 1 mana, dexterity as your channeling ability, say 18 at first level. It's going to be a +4. So that's a 6. Armor class is 16 because of your 18 dexterity, and at first level you have 1 rank of power. Your rogue at first level has a dexterity of 17 for 1 mana, which isn't bad. But at 17th level, when their dexterity is 20, it would be a 17 plus 5. It would be a 22. So your rogue for 1 mana would have an armor class of 22. Power shield. For 1 mana, you create a defensive field of power that can be wielded as a shield that you are proficient with. This shield hovers in space to protect you, leaving your hands free. You gain a +3 bonus to your armor class. You can prevent only one, and you can benefit from only 1 shield at a time. Basically, this gives you a for 1 mana, you basically get the animated shields magic item, which is a +1 magic item that you don't have to hold for it to work. It just kind of is linked to your soul. So between power armor and power shield, your 17th level rogue could have 12 plus 5 is 17, plus 5 is 22, plus 3 is 25. So your 17th level rogue, using 2 ranks of power to sustain power armor and power shield, will be able to have an armor class of 25. Not bad. It's not bad at 17th level for rogue. Ranged assault. While sustaining this power, you gain the following abilities. When you use a strike power with a ranged weapon, the power die size is no longer reduced. Normally, like if I were to use a crossbow or a sling or a long bow, short bow, blow dart, those are ranged weapons. So if I would normally roll a d6 per mana spent to deal damage, with ranged weapons, it's only a d4. It's a mild decrease, but it indicates that it's 1 step degree of power removed from you're transferring the power into the bolt that you're firing or the ammunition that you're using, and that's delivering the damage to the target. Instead of flowing directly through you into the target, you're sending it off in ammunition. So there is some degradation of damage dealt by the power. It's weakened. But ranged assault ramps up that damage, so it remains the damage side that you would normally use. The ranger can do that for free if you choose the ranged combat fighting style. Also, you can create temporary non-magical weapons or ammunition for ranged weapons of your choice while making a thrown or ranged attack, which disappears after you hit or miss. Alternatively, a thrown weapon can return to your hand after the attack. So if you have a battle axe, a magical battle axe that you love, if you use ranged assault, when you throw the battle axe, it can either just return to you like a boomerang, or it can just reappear in your hand. Either way that you want to do it. And if you have ranged assault active with your longbow, every time you draw the string, you magically create an arrow that you then fire, and it disappears as soon as it either hits or misses the target. Rogue Stance, 1 mana. While this power is sustained, you can use a bonus action to dash, disengage, or hide, just like a rogue could. And then as a kicker, when you use a bonus action to dash or disengage, you can expend 1 mana to also take the dodge action, which is what you're picking up basically from the monk. But it'll cost you 1 mana to sustain, and every time you use your bonus action, it'll cost you a point of mana. Yeah, there you go. Monk-like. Trap Springer, sustained power, 1 mana. While this power is sustained, you can search as a bonus action and gain advantage on any intelligence, investigation, and wisdom perception checks to notice traps. You automatically understand the general nature of any trap revealed this way, and you gain advantage on intelligence or dexterity checks using tools you're proficient with to disarm traps. So Trap Springer for 1 mana, that combined with instant skill. Like if I already have perception as a battle master, I can then pick up instant skill for 1 mana to gain expertise in perception, or I can swap it and gain proficiency in tools, in thieves tools. So instant skill, I gain proficiency in thieves skills and thieves tools, and then with Trap Springer for also 1 mana, I now have advantage on my intelligence and wisdom perception checks, and I can and I have advantage on using my thieves tools to disarm the traps. So that's how a 5th level fighter can become a makeshift rogue. Trap Springer. There you go. Second rank powers. Auto attunement. While sustaining this power as part of using a magic action that requires attunement, you can choose to attune to any magic item that you're wearing or holding that you meet the prerequisites up to your maximum rank of attuned items. When you choose, while sustaining this power for 1 mana, as part of using a magic item that requires attunement, you can choose to attune to any magic item you're wearing or holding that you meet the prerequisites up to your max number of attuned items, which is 3. When you choose a new item, you can choose to end. Let's see, while sustaining this power. Yeah, for 2 mana. Thank you. For 2 mana, I can have up to 3 items. I can just immediately become attuned to them. When you choose a new item, you can choose to end attunement of another item if you are already attuned to the maximum number allowed. If an item you are attuned to this way is cursed, you cannot choose to end the attunement, and you remain cursed even if you dismiss this power. So this basically allows you to have a bandolier of different attunement gear that when you grab and use that piece of equipment, I can spend 2 mana to immediately become attuned to it while I'm holding it. I let it go. I then pick up a new weapon. I still sustain the 2 mana. I am now attuned to this item. So this allows me to have a rack of different attunement magic items. This is really useful for, especially for an artificer that has so many things that it can attune to. Whether you've created those objects or not with your abilities as an artificer, you can have up to 6 attunements at some point. So for 2 mana, you can freely swap between 6 items that you're attuned to at any time. So real versatility and utility there. Castigation. This also came from the Blood Hunter. When you channel this power, choose a creature that you can see. You always know which direction the chosen creature is while it remains on the same plane of existence as you. In addition, when you make a melee attack against that chosen creature, you deal 1 additional power die of damage. This effect ends if the creature is killed or you are incapacitated. One additional power die of damage. This effect ends if the creature is killed or you are incapacitated. So basically, it's 2 mana. For 2 mana, I choose somebody and I can always deal an extra die of damage to them when I attack them. That actually stacks with the Hunter's Prey that the Ranger gets. So for as a Ranger with Castigation, I can now choose a target and I can deal an extra 2 power dice of damage to them every time I hit them. But as soon as that creature dies, Castigation ends. So then I'd have to spend 2 more mana to choose a new target as a bonus or a magic action and be able to tag them that way. It's good for a boss fight if you really need to ramp your damage. It's not super efficient. I think the most useful part of it, the utility, is always knowing which direction a creature is from you. It doesn't tell you how far away they are, so the DM can monkey around like that. But it's still super useful. Giant Growth. While this power is sustained, I could sustain this on multiple. I could sustain this on 2 targets at 13th level. So at 13th level, I have a max rank of 4. I could take castigation twice and keep a marker on two different creatures. Giant growth, 2 mana. Now, while this power is sustained with 2 mana, you can increase your size to large, along with any equipment that you carry. While this power is sustained with 4 mana, your size increases instead to huge. The table below summarizes the benefit of changing size. For 2 mana, your size large, your space is 2x2 at the 5-foot scale, your weight is 8 times heavier, your reach extends by 5 feet, and increased damage and bonus to strength ability checks, +1 power die. If you're huge, it's a 3x3 space, 16 times the weight, 10 feet reach added, and you roll 2 power dice, which applies to melee weapon attacks. When you're huge, add both dice. And for strength ability checks, when you're huge, add the higher power die results to your ability check as described in exploits above. This power doesn't stack with spells or effects that also increase your size, like enlarge, reduce spell. So there you go, like a barbarian, like the barbarian, the giant barbarian subclass gets, while raging, gets giant growth for free. Like, that's one of the cool features of, like, that's some of the cool things you can do with subclasses. Like, here's a power that you automatically get for taking this subclass, and while you're using the subclass, it doesn't cost you any mana to do it, and it doesn't reduce the amount. I can, while raging, a barbarian with giant growth at 5th level isn't using any mana. It's not blocking any ranks. I could still add, like, power shield and, like, rogue stance, for instance. I could stack up on those powers because giant growth doesn't count against it. Strange metabolism. While sustaining this power, you are immune to poison damage and the poison condition. In addition, as a bonus action, you can make an unarmed attack that deals 1 power die plus your strength or dexterity modifier of poison damage, and the creature is poisoned until it succeeds a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. It's 2 mana to turn that on. Poison condition is disadvantaged on their D20 test. It's super useful. Thicket of Pain, 2 mana. While this power is sustained and you are not restrained, stunned, incapacitated, or paralyzed, movement within reach of your melee attack is difficult terrain, and any creature you can see that begins its turn or moves within reach of your melee attack takes 1 power die of weapon damage. A creature damaged this way only once each turn. And then, if you sustain 4 mana instead of 2 mana, it's 2 power dice of damage. At 17th level, that'd be 2d10. And again, if you have extended reach, you can, Thicket of Pain is 2 mana. Extended reach can only then be 3 mana at 17th level. A 15-foot reach, plus my glaive is a +10. That'd be a 25-foot reach. Anybody that moves within 25 feet or starts their turn within 25 feet of me, if I choose, takes 2 damage. While you sustain this power, you are not restrained, stunned, incapacitated. Movement, difficult terrain. For any creature you can see, for any creature you choose that you can see that begins its turn or moves within reach of your melee attacks during your turn. Yeah, any creature you choose. So, Thicket of Pain, basically, with the extended reach, creates a 25-foot bubble that anybody that gets within reach of me is going to take 1 or 2 power dice of damage. It's like a really expensive version of Spirit Guardians. But you can have it. I mean, Spirit Guardians is a 3rd level spell, and it requires 3 concentration. So like a 9th level Paladin that gets Spirit Guardians could use that, or I could use Thicket of Pain for 2 mana. It's significantly worse, only doing at 9th level 1d8 instead of 3d8. So it's far more expensive, but it's something you could do. A fighter could do that. A rogue could do that. A monk can do that. A ranger can do that. Anyway, Tremor Sense. You are aware of the location and size of any creature on the same plane of existence of you as you, within 10 feet times your max rank of power. That is touching the same surface as you, but you don't know information such as what the creature is, what it looks or sounds like, or what it is carrying. 1, 2, 3. Creatures you detect this way that don't have full cover can be targeted as though you can see them. In addition, when using stealth during movements, you can roll with disadvantage to remain hidden from creatures with tremor sense. So, very the removing cover, if they're on the same surface as you, that's really useful. Otherwise, it's far more case by case utility. Third rank powers, Celerity. While sustaining this power for 3 mana, you gain the following benefits. Your movement speed doubles. You gain a +2 bonus to your armor class. You gain advantage with dexterity saving throws from sources that you can see. And you gain an additional bonus action to make a weapon attack, dash, dodge, or to make one weapon attack, dash, dodge, or disengage. So basically it's haste that once you turn it on, it stays on. And if it gets dismissed or dispelled, it doesn't give you the stun hangover. And it doesn't require concentration, but it requires 3 mana. At 9th level, it's the only thing like a fighter could do. But it'd be an extra bonus action to make an attack, so sweet. Daunting Presence, 3 mana. While sustaining this power, attacks against you by creatures that you can see roll with disadvantage. And when you are the only target of an effect that requires you to make a saving throw, you roll with advantage. In addition, while sustaining this power, you can expend 1 mana and target a creature as a unique first rank maneuver. If the target, which means you can do it as an action or a bonus action. If the target fails a wisdom saving throw, it is frightened of you until you are no longer within its line of sight. The creature can make an additional save at the end of each of its turns to end the frightened condition, which means it can't advance towards you, and D20 tests in your presence are at disadvantage. Ghostwalker. While sustaining this 3rd rank power, you become incorporeal as a translucent image of yourself, gaining resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. You can move through other creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain. Any round you end within an object, you're ejected from the space, returning to the last position you occupied or the nearest location to that space, and you are incapacitated until the beginning of your next turn. You cannot touch objects or creatures, and you cannot be heard while incorporeal this way, but attacks that deal force damage can still reduce your hit points. And as a kicker effect, while sustaining this power, you can channel 2 mana as an exploit to become ethereal until the beginning of your next turn. Again, pretty conditional stuff. Useful for getting through walls if you need to, but it's expensive. Cheers. Mind Sense. While sustaining this power, you can sense the location of and communicate telepathically with any creature with an intelligence score of 3 or higher within 20 feet plus 10 within 10 feet times your max rank of power, which is standard for all the different the blind sense and the tremor sense that we've been utilizing. Excuse me. I need to take a sip of water. Even those on different planes of existence. There doesn't need to be a common language to communicate this way. In addition, while you communicate with a creature this way, you can attempt to attain some information about them. During your turn, you can target one creature you can sense this way to make a charisma saving throw. If they fail, you know if the creature has a friendly, neutral, or hostile disposition towards you, and you have advantage on ability checks using deception, persuasion, insight, and intimidation skills. While you continue to sense their mind. Creatures that are immune or resistant to charm effects can save with advantage. And the target is unaware you are you have used this this feature. If they succeed, they know you attempted to use this feature. If they succeed, you gain no... there we go. In addition, if they succeed the save, they know you attempted to use this feature. And creatures that are immune to or resistant to charm effects can save with advantage. Windstrider, 3rd rank. While this power is sustained, you can fly using your walking speed and hover. When the power ends or you're knocked prone, you benefit from the effect of Featherfall spell until you occupy a space on a solid surface or liquid that can support you. I'm going to get rid of hover. When the power ends... if you can hover, being knocked prone doesn't matter. Hover doesn't care about being prone, so it's irrelevant. There. And then 4th rank, Frenzied Attack. While sustaining this power, you gain 1 additional attack when you take the attack action, which you can use to generate temporary mana. So for 4 mana, my 11th level fighter, now 13th level fighter, instead of having 3 attacks during the attack action, now has 4. A rogue that went at 13th level to spend 4 mana can make 2 attacks on the attack action instead of just 1, for instance. A barbarian would have 3 attacks at 13th level instead of 2. It's expensive, but if you want it, you get it. And, of course, you get to generate temporary mana off of it as well. In addition, you gain advantage on all attack... let's see... Yes, and in addition, you gain advantage on all attack rolls. It's expensive, you deserve it. So your rogue is always going to be getting sneak attack, and you have 2 attempts every attack action, plus nick, plus a bonus action. Your rogue has four chances during their turn to hit with sneak attack at 13th level if they want to sustain frenzied attack. Indestructible. While sustaining this power, you gain resistance to all damage, and attacks can't score crits against you. In addition, as a reaction to taking damage, you can dismiss this power. If you do, until the end of your next turn, you are immune to the triggering type of damage. So, and I can activate this as an action or as a bonus action. So if I have Indestructible going, it costs me 4 mana to get up and running. If I jump into a pool of lava, I could then dismiss Indestructible as a reaction and gain immunity to fire damage while I am swimming in lava. During that next turn, until the end of your next turn. So during my next turn, I can use my bonus action to then channel channel Indestructible again, and then sacrifice those 4 mana as a reaction to again become immune to fire. However long I can sustain that mana effect, I can swim through lava without taking any damage. Hey, what's up? I like the way that you give more options to your players. The martial class is always yeah, they really do. And this, again, the whole purpose of this was to create a unified alternate spellcasting system that all martials can prepare and invest into and build classes around and give you bonus powers. So you have the same breadth of prepared options that like a sorcerer or a bard would have. And have all your class features bending into utilizing them, assuming that you can utilize them. So thanks for the compliment. I appreciate it. It's been amazing. We've been playtesting this for almost 2 years now. And we've gone through a shitload of refinements over that time at all levels of play. And everyone has thought it's been fun so far. It's just a matter of making sure that it's not broken. but it makes everybody feel like really gishy. And if you're not into that shit, that's fine. We have solutions for you. If you still want to have extra resources but not use reboot magic, we have answers for you. But the last one we'll get, which is meta powers. We'll get into that in a minute. I've got about maybe 10 minutes or so. So, Master of Fate. When you channel, again, 4 mana to turn this on. When you channel this power, roll 3d20 Fate dice. When you later roll a d20 test while this power is sustained, you can choose to replace that result with any one of these Fate dice. Each Fate die can be used once. In addition, while sustaining this power, you can expend 1 mana from your pool as a bonus action during your turn to roll an additional Fate die, replacing any results or regaining an expended Fate die. Unused Fate dice are lost when the power is dismissed. Basically, it's like Portent, but it only affects you. And you can spend mana as bonus actions to basically re-roll the Fate dice and to gain Fate dice back. So it basically just lets you manipulate your d20 pool. And this is a 4th rank power. You get access to it at 13th level. 4th rank is the max rank of power. So you get all the tools in the toolbox by 13th level. 13th level is a typical max level that you gain in WotC campaigns that often go to 15th level. So this remains relevant earlier in the campaign to get access to this stuff. There's still 5th level spells. You can still channel 5 mana, up to 5 mana, but the ranks of power end at 4. I just couldn't find a reason to make them 5th rank. And there's a chance that people would only allow this, but only at the 3rd casting progression of 1, 7, 13, 19. You may want to downshift the power of martial powers to align with Eldritch Knight and Arcane Trickster. So we limited it to 4th rank of power to accommodate that modification. If that's how your DM thinks it's fair to use this, your progression will be slower, but you'll still get access to 4th rank by 19th level, and you still accumulate your mana up to 20. So anyway, so those are all, those are sustained powers. But then we also have meta powers, and these will only take a few minutes to go through. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through them. So meta powers don't require expending mana at all. They're kind of like cantrips. Combat masteries can be channeled as though they were strike powers, but you don't spend any mana. So if you're using a weapon mastery, you can't channel a power at the same time, like to ramp up the damage and do an extra kicker effect, unless something specifically says that you can. Like the martial powers, like the martial strike power, allows you to spend mana to deal extra damage, and its kicker effect is choose a combat mastery that you have prepared. You can use that in addition to dealing this damage. It's like a generic universal strike ability. Damage types can be channeled to deal different types of damage than the weapon normally deals, but you don't have to spend any mana to do so. And then feats can be prepared. They don't have prerequisites, nor do they increase abilities when you prepare them as powers. So let's look at these. So there's 12 combat masteries, which modifies how weapon masteries work for martial characters. Combat masteries are 0 mana strike effects that include all weapon masteries and additional combat masteries, which are detailed below. Combat masteries detailed below. You can choose any number of combat masteries as part of your prepared power list. You can prepare any number of combat masteries So, combat masteries. When you prepare a combat mastery, you can apply the effects to any weapon you are proficient with unless the description indicates otherwise. You can use one combat mastery at a time. A combat mastery cannot be used while channeling a strike power unless a feature specifies otherwise, such as the Paladin Strike feature or the Martial Strike power. You can prepare masteries from the list below. There's 12 of them. Addle. Target makes an intelligence saving throw or cannot make an opportunity attack until the start of their next turn. Cleave mastery, which is for melee only. The ones with asterisks. Asterisk, weapon masteries as presented in the player's handbook. So the ones with asterisks are literally weapon masteries in the 5.5 player's handbook, but we separate them from the weapons and allow you to use them with any weapon. Like cleave has to be melee only, but otherwise it can be any melee weapon. And then furthermore, if a character with the channeling class feature is proficient with a weapon, you can use the mastery listed as the property for that weapon, whether or not you have chosen that mastery. So I don't have to have cleave prepared to use it with, I think it's Battle Axe gets cleave. Yeah. So Battle Axe automatically gets the cleave property. Because I am a channeling character, I can automatically use cleave with that weapon. But if I prepare cleave, I can use it with any melee weapon I'm proficient with, not just Battle Axe. So it creates a ton of utility. Like for 0 mana, you don't have to use a mana pool if you don't want to do weeboo magic. But there's 12 masteries here, and you get 20 prepared powers over the course of your character's career. So you can pick up all of the masteries if you want. Monks, the Way of the Open Hand, Monk actually gets a ton of weapon masteries that you can use with your unarmed attacks. And the Battle Master also gets a ton of extra combat masteries for free. So they're literally weapon cantrips with this system, which is how I've derogatorily always called them since I saw them. I think if WotC had given more time to cook, I think this is what they would have done with masteries. I just don't think they had enough time to playtest all the wrinkles out of it. But I've been playtesting this with players for 2 years. They work good. Okay, so cleave. It's exactly as listed in the player's handbook. If you hit a creature with a melee attack roll using this weapon, you can make a melee attack roll with the weapon against a second creature within 5 feet of the first that is also within your reach. On a hit, the second creature takes the weapon's damage, but don't add your ability modifier to that damage unless that modifier is negative. You can make this extra attack only once per turn. The second attack cannot use another mastery or strike power. So the cleave itself is the mastery modifying an attack. The cleave isn't an extra full attack that you can then modify with another mastery or a strike power to ramp damage. We'll see that with Nick down below as well. Disarm is a new one. Target makes a strength saving throw or object held is dropped in an adjacent 5-foot square. If you're holding the object two-handed, the saving throw is made with advantage. I should probably type that out. If the target is holding the item with 2 hands, the save is rolled with advantage, period. There we go. And grapple. This is another new one for melee only. When you hit with an attack, the target makes a strength or dexterity save. If they fail, they are grappled. And as an effect, you can't use the weapon. You can't use the weapon to make attacks until the grapple ends. You can't use this weapon to make attacks until the grapple ends, because you're like the example I like to use is like you use your sword to make an elbow lock. Like you can slip a bar in here and lock up somebody's arm like this to hold them or restrain them or to grapple them in this instance. If I'm using my sword as a stick to hold your arm still, I can't make attacks with that sword until the grapple breaks. If I'm using the close quarter combat maneuver, this grapple effect, again, you get this mastery for free if you take the close quarters sustained power that we looked at up earlier. And the close quarters attack allows you to make an opportunity attack against the target when it breaks free of a grapple. The grapple mastery allows you to use your weapon to grapple. When they break free, you're basically cutting. If they break free of the arm lock, they're basically cutting their arm with your sword to break free of the grapple. They're sacrificing their health for their freedom. And I just think that's a fun fantasy. Graze is another new... Graze is from the player's handbook. If you miss with an attack, you can deal your attack ability modifier and weapon damage. There you go. Graze is great, and since it's a prepared power, if you take Graze, you always deal damage. Just prepare it. At first level, just prepare it, because you're far more likely to miss at first level. but your ability score is probably going to be +4. So at first level, that's really fucking useful. Pick up Grays at first level. It's so useful. Nick, also in the player's handbook, only qualifies for dual wielding melee weapons or using a light weapon with natural and unarmed attacks. While dual wielding and making the extra attack with a weapon that has the light property or a natural unarmed attack, instead of taking a bonus action to attack with the second light weapon, you can make it as part of the attack action. You can make this extra attack only once per turn. The second attack can use another mastery or strike power as usual. So, cheers. Hey, what's up? Chuck North, yeah, no kidding, right? SAP exists in the player's handbook already. Hit target. Target you hit. Target you hit. Has disadvantage. Target you hit. Target you hit. On next attack or next attack before the start of your next turn. Slow. Hit and damage reduces. Let's see. Target you hit. Reduces speed by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. This multiple attacks don't stack. Step. When you hit a target, you can move 5 feet. This is a new one. When you hit a target, you can move 5 feet without provoking opportunity attacks. So if I'm a 13th level fighter that has frenzied active, I have 4 attacks. Every time I hit, I can take a 5-foot step, no opportunity attack. Hit again, 5-foot step. Hit again, 5-foot step. Hit again, 5-foot step. There you go. Topple. Target you hit makes a strength or dexterity save or gains the prone condition. That's from the player's handbook. Vex is also from the player's handbook. You gain advantage on the next attack against the same target you hit and damage until the end of your next turn. Yeah, there you go. And then there's damage types. So there's 13 types of damage in the game. And at first level, whenever you would... Okay, so you can use one of the prepared powers to channel damage types of your choice when you deal damage with a weapon attack or power. Each type of damage must be prepared separately, but there's no limit on how many types of damage you can prepare, up to your maximum total prepared powers. So basic damage types can be prepared when you gain the ability to channel first rank powers. Advanced damage types can be prepared when you gain the ability to channel second rank powers. So at first level, basic powers is acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, as well as bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing if you wanted to. At 5th level, when you get access to second rank powers, the advanced damage types are force, necrotic, psychic, radiant, and thunder. Monks, for instance, get force damage for free at 6th level, and a lot of subclasses starting at 3rd level give you the ability to deal one of these types of damage. A lot of them, like the Sire Warrior, force and psychic damage. You can just deal that type of damage when you hit with an attack, for instance. So this just creates flexibility, like when you're fighting creatures with resistances and vulnerabilities. This lets you kind of play a meta game of deciding what type of power would it be best for me to what type of damage would be best for me to hit them with. So if we're going to go fight ice trolls that are resistant to cold damage, then we want to make sure, and like we're fighting trolls, so we want to make sure that we're dealing, like, say, force damage or acid damage so that we can remove their resistance. So we would prepare acid and fire damage, so the damage that we deal with our weapon on top of our powers would always be able to do fire acid damage. There you go. And then finally, feats as powers. You can choose any number of feats as part of your prepared power list. Origin feats and fighting styles can be prepared when you gain the ability to channel first rank powers at first level. General feats can be prepared when you gain the ability to channel second rank powers. Normally you can gain general feats at 4th level when you get your first feat, and you don't get second rank powers until 5th level. So that maths. When you do, you can ignore any ability score prerequisites, and you don't gain any ability score increases. And then epic boons can be prepared when you gain the ability to channel 5th rank powers at 17th level. When you do, you can ignore the level 19 plus prerequisites, and you don't gain any ability score increases. So, origin feats, first rank. These can be selected when you gain the ability to channel first rank powers. Alert, healer, savage attacker, tavern brawler. Notice skilled and tough aren't included. We could theoretically include tough, but we're just putting limits on hit points. There you go. It's hard enough to kill characters as it is without just giving them multiple uses of tough. I don't want to have that stacking up. And skill just gives you a shitload of proficiencies. I don't want to give you that either. So this is a very curated short list, but at first level you can take these additional abilities. Fighting styles are considered first rank as well. So at first rank, everyone gets 4 powers. If you don't want to use any mana, if you're like, yeah, I like these ideas, but I don't like using mana, that's broken, great. Just pick up a shitload of fighting styles, including efficient power if you did want to use mana, which is a new feat. That is efficient power is a fighting style. Requires the channeling feature, which is choose one exploit, maneuver, or reaction power that you have prepared from your discipline, from the discipline list above when you select this feat. When you channel the chosen power, you gain 1 temporary point of mana that can be expended in combination with any other source of mana or temporary mana to channel the chosen power. This effect does this does not affect any kicker costs a power may have. So, for example, if you choose the empowered attack exploit to be an efficient power, whenever you let's do it like this. For example, if you choose the no, empowered attack still exists. The empowered attack, does empowered attack still exist? It's an exploit. Let's verify that's still a relevant. Yeah, there it is. When you make a weapon attack, you can use your channeling ability bonus instead of strength or dexterity, and as a kicker, you can attack with advantage. So that costs 2 mana. 1 to use empowered attack every attack. It requires 1 mana. That sucks. And then to use a second point of mana to make it with advantage, that's horrible. You would never choose that, except if you're using efficient power. Whenever you make a weapon attack, you generate 1 point of temporary mana to expend channeling the power without expending any of your own mana. But you would have to pay the kicker cost. So if I automatically gain 1 point of mana, every time I make an attack with a weapon, I could use my channeling ability modifier. Like my paladin could use charisma as my channeling ability modifier. And if I learned empowered attack and then prepared efficient power with it, I can now always use my charisma as my attack and damage rolls instead. And anytime I want to, I can spend a point of mana and gain advantage. This would allow my rogue, for instance, to turn this on and make it efficient. So every time I make an attack with any kind of weapon, I could use my dexterity as my channeling ability modifier, and I can always spend a point of mana to gain advantage to trigger sneak attack anytime I want. So for a rogue, this becomes actually very useful. And it's repeatable. You can take this feat more than once, choosing a different martial power each time. Another fun example would be the maneuver. The coordinated attack maneuver is 1 mana to turn it on. As an action or a bonus action, you can empower 1 ally per mana expended this way that you can see or hear to use their reaction to make a weapon attack. Rolling 1 power die per mana expended this way, adding the highest result to the attack against a target that you can see. I could prepare a coordinated attack and then choose efficient power as a prepared feat, so that I can literally, every time I use coordinated attack, it's free to use for 1 mana. So I can target one creature every time I use this power, target one creature, and give them an extra die to their attack roll for making a coordinated attack. And if I took the attack maneuvers power as a sustained power, if I was an 11th level fighter, I could use coordinated attack 3 times during my attack action instead of making attacks, to give all my allies a reaction to make an attack and to add a power die to the damage that I didn't have to spend any mana to give them. It becomes free to use. And I can use this with as many powers as I have prepared powers to add as a feat, or as many feat selections as I want. But being able to do this gives you the ability to become like a really good battlefield commander that way, or a really good tank by dropping the cost of interpose down to 0 to use it. So I could interpose against as many targets as I want, because I still have to spend the 1 point of mana to make it not a reaction, but efficient power makes that reaction itself free to use. See how that works? Super fun. Let's see. So yeah, that is a fighting style. So you can pick up all these. If you don't want to use mana, pick up a bunch of fighting styles. Pick up a bunch of combat masteries. And at 5th level going forward, here's all the general feats that you can take. Like, this is all good shit. Great Weapon Master, Sentinel, Polearm Master, Great Weapon Fighter, and Slasher. Those are 4 feats at 5th level that any like fighter or barbarian would want to have all of those. Well, great, you just spent 4 powers to prepare all of those things. You can now use those feats at will. There you go. And then at 17th level, like telekinetic and telepathic, if you want to play like a really good psychic or scion, pick those up. You now have access to those at 5th level. You could learn one like at anyway, I don't know what my thought was there. Epic Boon, 17th level, 5th rank powers. Boon of Combat Prowess, which is if you miss, you automatically hit instead. Boon of Dimensional Travel gives you Misty Step as a bonus action at will. Boon of Energy Resistance is a permanent resistance to one type of damage. Boon of Speed increases your speed, I want to say 30 feet. And then Boon of True Sight, you have 30 feet True Sight. There you go. That's why I didn't make True Sight a power up above, because Boon of True Sight you get access to at 5th rank. So these are technically 5th rank powers, right? So there you go. And that's it. That's the stack of stuff that we have, guys. That's the system. I'm going to log out and take a little bit of time to myself before we start playtesting in about a half hour from now. That's on my Discord channel. Anyone that thinks this stuff is cool, thanks. I'm glad that you do. The document, again, is available here for you to look at. The color mana system we built is here. I'll see you guys later. Bye.